Now we really are serious. And that's oftentimes what I say just for fun. And so I ask you, what have you been doing to change the world lately? Well, one of the reasons I'm late to you is that the world has been changing a lot, and I have to do something about that. And so today we're going to talk about changing the world and how you can do some small things and some big things, and then some of the things you might have to do to make sure that 2019 goes well for you. I'm Stan Houston. This is the Christian Entrepreneur Network. Our flagship What It Takes radio program is called the Jesus Entrepreneur Experience. And for those of you who are out to build a business and at least change your part of the world, we're here to help you do just that. Join us. The program begins right now. Yes, indeed, it has been a while, but one of the advantages of personal on-demand radio, which is what podcasting is all about, personal on-demand podcasting, is that we can put the program together anytime we want, and we don't actually have to meet a deadline as some transmitter is on the air waiting for our program. And so, as I say, we can be a little bit more flexible. And perhaps we can even be a little bit more hospitable by when we have something not worth talking about. Maybe we should just be silent and do a little bit of, someone says, we got to reduce pollution. And I say, well, okay, but we also have to reduce the noise pollution, which is all about us and probably, in many cases, even more deadly than the other kind, if we take it seriously. My name is Stan Houston, and RadioEdge77@gmail.com is how you reach me. RadioEdge77@gmail.com. Our What It Takes radio studio is located in Tucson, Arizona, and of course we are on Tucson Route 77. Route 77. Route 66, the classic one, goes east and west. And Route 77 goes north and south, and that's where we are at. And right now, in the midst of some of the cold winters of the northern hemisphere, we've got some very nice weather going on for us because we're located in the cowboy, cactus, and desert land of the great American Southwest. Well, let's go. First of all, the date is February 7th. And now we really have to be serious. Now, if you're an entrepreneur, you're going to have to know about your product. You better have whatever your product or service or your experience, what you are offering, you better know it well. And you better be able to tell that story real well. So you better know your product, you better know yourself, and you better know how you can communicate it and tell the story. But you also have to understand people. People are the people who actually purchase. People are the people who purchase your product, and it doesn't matter how good it is. If people don't purchase it, you're out of business. So you're always trying to study the human condition and see if you can better understand. Now, one of the things we all know is that right after January 1st, everybody is gung-ho on their New Year's resolutions. However, they have discovered that most of that energy and enthusiasm and that working out daily, gonna lose weight, usually has diminished by the third week in January. And then there's kind of a cold spell, which often happens in North America, and of course it happened again, and people kind of lose their energy. Then as the football season is coming to an end with the Super Bowl, there's some real energy, and of course that is almost like a national holiday, all of the hype that goes into that. Well, the Super Bowl took place last Sunday, and now this is Thursday, the week following. We're now into February, and now marketers say this is where people have to get serious. Truly, the holiday time is over. The celebrating and the partying and doing that is over, and we better get serious and get down to business. So February 7th, it's a serious time to get going, taking care of business. Just something you need to know about how to be a more effective Christian entrepreneur. I'm also discovering more and more, and I just share this with you. We're going to do a series of podcasts on prayers for the entrepreneur. And we actually have in our e-book. And please go to tcenglobal.org, tcenglobal.org, and you can get the ability to download a free e-book, which we call the Fully Alive. It's a 35-page ebook, and it is the prayers and the 7 power principles of the Christian entrepreneur, and we believe it's a powerful way to guide your life. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People changed many people's lives. That was 330 pages. Ours is a little over 35 pages, and I think it's a summary that can be just as effective. The 7 power principles. What to know, what to do, and how to live. What to know, what to do, and how to live to be a fully alive and business and marketplace success as a Christian entrepreneur. And we'd love to share that book with you, and we'd love to come and speak to your organization. We have a number of workshops and opportunities where we can do just that. And you can reach me, radioedge77@gmail.com. Part of that is because I have all of a sudden, in many ways, discovered that wonderful expression which I never understood when I was young. Pray without ceasing. Well, how can you do that? Due to perhaps my age, perhaps some of the issues which are now before me, in which I have no control over. I remember the story of a gentleman who said that all of a sudden, when he hugged his son and sent him on his way, and he was going off to war, to the war in Iraq, he said, for the first time in my life, I realized that the only thing I could ever do to really help my son was pray for him. I'd always been there to help him, give him some money, bail him out, whatever needed to have happen. He was a good kid, but he was a kid. He said, but then he walked off not only as a soldier, but as a man, and he was truly on his own. And the only thing that dear old Dad could now do is pray for him. And you begin to find more situations like that in life. So much is out of your control. All you can do is pray about it. So perhaps we need to learn a little bit more about how to pray. Maybe we ought to know that the year is serious. You might say, Lord God, I really want to be serious in my conversations and my contemplation with you. I want to talk to you, and I want to listen to you, and I want that to happen in ways that I've never experienced before. So make yourself very present, overwhelm me with your power, and teach me this year how to pray. Not only to you, but with you and from you. Remember, pray to, pray with, and pray from. You kind of listen to the man, see what he has to say. Okay, here's where I'd like to take it a briefly bit today. First of all, how about changing the world? Now, one of the fun things I like to do, And one of the things that kept me from talking to you is I've been meeting a lot of people lately because the world has changed in terms of podcasting, and it has changed in terms of business, and it's happened this past week, and you better know about it no matter what. One of the fun things I do when I go out to lunch or have dinner with a client or a friend, we're sitting there, and of course the nice server person comes. They say, "Can we help you?" And oftentimes I smile and say, "Thank you for helping us. By the way, we're here, and we're going to change the world over this conversation." Then we smile, and he or she usually smiles. And then I say, "And guess what? You were right here when it happened, right at the beginning." And yesterday, the young gal was so cute. And she faked amazement. Says, "Oh, I can hardly wait. And to know that I was right there, I can tell everybody." She went right along with the game. We had a grand time and a wonderful laugh. And as we left, she said, "Well, I'm trusting the world's going to be a little bit better now." I'm simply saying it's a fun way to have a conversation. And then you can actually turn it a little bit more serious by saying, "And you know what? If you did have the power to change the world in some way, what would you change first? What about your own world would you like to change?" What about your own world? What would you like to change? That reminded me, because just recently, within the last few days, I got an article in which it said, "Never ask anyone what they do." And you know what? That's true. That's true for you too. We go to a networking. Well, who are you? What do you do? Maybe then, where are you from? Here's my challenge to you. And what the guy did who wrote the article, he's a clever guy, and he said just exactly what I've said. That's not important. Who cares what they do? Get to something more important first. And by the way, what if that's not the most important thing in their life? Maybe they're retired. Well, then you say, "Well, what did you do?" Well, how about talking about something? And I would simply say to you, make a resolution going forward when you meet people. You go to a networking thing, which usually isn't a very successful operation. What would you say? What would you do? What would be another question besides, what do you do? Think about that. Have a good staff meeting about that. When you meet new clients, new customers, or prospects, what would be some good questions besides, what do you do? All right, here's your challenge. Sit down at staff meeting or sit down with your sales force and come up with some better questions rather than just, what do you do? Now, I'm going to tell you one question that I've asked for years that's been very powerful. And I'll tell you that in just a moment, and then I'll try and help you understand something that has changed significantly just in the last few days. I'm Stan Houston. This is What It Takes Radio. It's a service of the Christian Entrepreneur Network, the Christian Entrepreneur Network, and you can reach us at tcenglobal.org/contribute, and we would be grateful. We are a 501c3 organization designed to serve you. We'll be back.
Tis a gift to be simple, 'tis a gift to be free.
And I am back. I'm not going to say much more now. However, I did send out to a number of my people an old video that I did about 5 years ago, and it was on storytelling. And it's based on my assumption that storytelling is the only effective means of communication, and that video series, which is at our website in the video section, is 4 sessions, kind of a trilogy plus one, of 4 things that storytelling can do for you and your business, and we're going to go through some of that. Storytelling is the way you communicate effectively. What I have done for years, and it's always been very striking, is when I meet someone, I oftentimes say, make sure their name is right. Hey, tell me a little bit of your story. Or, what's your story? And it always makes they smile. They come, my story? I don't have a story. I said, everybody has a story. What's yours? And if they pause, I say, well, first of all, in the beginning. Once upon a time, where did you grow up? Oh, now I'm going to find out some important stuff. Not just what do they do. I'm going to find out a part of their story. And I have now found that people always engage with me deeper. And they may not actually say a lot, but they always start deeper if with a smile I say, what's your story? And it's always interesting to see if I don't have to help them begin where they begin. Where do they begin their story? And that's important. There you go. Another great tip. What is your story? Once upon a time. There you go. I'm Stan Houston. Once again, this helpful advice is there to help you as an entrepreneur learn how to get to know people, understand people, deal with the issue of being really good with people, and then your product and your service can be better presented to the people who buy. I'm Stan Houston. We've got just a closing note, and then we're done. Here's what changed the world, at least a part of it. One of the largest internet music organizations is called Spotify. Almost 100 million people subscribe to this music service. And of course, there are many. Apple Music, Pandora. It has gotten to the point now where they have found that less than 25% of people own their own music. They don't buy radios and CDs and record players and records anymore. They listen online to the music they want, or they get it online. They don't own it. They rent it or borrow it, or in some cases, of course, steal it. Spotify just bought Gimlet. And what they said, if you know the history, Gimlet is an organization that began 5 years ago producing something called podcasts. And in the last few months, what many of us have been involved in and experimenting with and hobbying for a few years has boomed. And Spotify bought Gimlet, which is one of the larger producers of podcasting programs. Here's what it means. It means that podcasting is for real. It will be one of the major means of marketing, communication, and connecting. Scads of radio programs are giving up and becoming podcasts. Celebrities are starting podcasts. Companies, rather than having websites and blogs, are having podcasts. One of the biggest new job opportunities is the CCO, which is the Chief Content Officer. Every company is going to have a podcasting, communicating, teaching, learning, demonstrating presence on the internet, and it better be good, it better be real. Spotify is big into podcasting now. So is Pandora. So is NPR. So is the BBC. New York Times has more people who listen to the podcast than buy their newspaper. And that's why we at the Christian Entrepreneur Network are here, and we're here because we now have the team that can help you, your church, your ministry, to build one of the best podcasting platforms around. We can help you enter in well into the 21st century, and you better get serious about that. We can help you put together your first podcast and start telling the world your story. And please just let all that I have said today, and go back and listen to it at least 3 times, let it sit on your head, because what I was talking to you about will change the world, and you'll have to discover how you are going to have to change with it, adopt to it, or be changed by it. You can make that a God-filled, God-empowered creative choice. You can live in the midst of all of these changes. And Jesus would say, I told you there would be times of trouble and times of change and times of opportunity and even times of tragedy. And I will be with you. And I'm claiming His power, His promise, His presence. And that's why I pray all the time, because we're going to use and we're going to help you use the podcasting principle, the power of this thing to help enrich our lives, to connect with the lives of others, and perhaps to build a business that matters and makes a difference. We're here to help you do just that. All the best and blessings. We've got a lot more coming, and we're glad that you're with us. Once again, RadioEdge77@gmail.com, RadioEdge77@gmail.com, TCENglobal.org. It's where we hang out, where you can hear our story, and how you can begin to join the Christian Entrepreneur Network. Best and blessings, and bye for now.